Willis's World, back with another one. We're in Destiny again. I have done the Hunter and the Warlock. The Hunter is the Void 3.0 type. I mean, no, shit. English hard, sorry. I have done the Titan and the Warlock, and going to be doing the Hunter today. Titan is the Void 3.0, and the Warlock is the Striga build I use. Now, with the Warlock, I am using the Eye of Another World for now. However, if you have it, definitely go for the exotic gauntlets that pair with the Thorn. I forget the name of them. Necrotic Grips. If you have these, definitely go for these. The Striga with Necrotic Grip right now is the ad clearing king of the entire game. There is nothing else that will clear a room faster than that. And it will clear the rooms of yellow bars too, because the dot that the Striga puts up escalates the longer it's on an enemy. The dot that the Necrotic Grips puts up does not, but due to both of them being on the enemy, the dot steadily rises as they're being damaged by it, and that dot gets to the point that the Izanagi's Burden Sniper, which is comparing to the Whisper of the Worm Heavy Sniper's damage, those two have some of the best damage in the game. The Striga's dot, when it fully ticks, is doing damage comparable to them. So yeah, if you have these Strigas and these, definitely make sure you're using Necrotic Grips on the Warlock. Titan build still remains the same, but the Hunter, which is what I'm covering today. As you can see here, it is not a complete build yet, but the basis is so powerful that I just need to show you it. So, you're obviously using Void, because these are the Void builds for them. I would recommend using the Volley one for the PvE content if you're doing PvP, Deadfall, or Blades. But the Mobius Quiver, the reason why I use that for PvE is that Volley, people are downgrading it, but it is creating 6 tethers. I don't think people realize what that is meaning. That's 6 tethers. The 2 volleys are 3 void anchors that tether them. It's also making anything it does tether volatile, which means they'll explode when they're damaged enough or dead. The thing about that is when they do explode, that explosion happens to all 6 tethers and the target. So the target is hit by 7 explosions. It is a brutal fucking thing. And they're all clumped together, so any weapons you have that do cleave damage, you shoot at the anchors and close to enough to the boss that you're hitting, it's doing multiple hits on them. I don't understand why people are downgrading that, but it is OP as crap. But yeah, that's why I used the Mobius Quiver. Plus, its cooldown is mid between them. Deadfall's a shorter one, but it's OP as fuck. Your dodge. With this, it really does not matter which one you're using. Although, with the fact that I'm using a glaive, that is probably going to be the better thing. Because you don't really need to refresh melee, but refreshing ammo is nice. Your jump, I'd recommend triple jump. Your snare bomb is the only choice you have. Vortex recommended for grenade. And then I utilize Stylish Executioner with the Vanishing Step. Now that Stylish Executioner does come in with your weapon choice, and you do need 1 mod, and it will complete basically the entire kit. But the Stylish Executioner, defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens the target. Yeah, it gets pretty nasty, and you'll understand that here in a minute. The Vanishing Step, dodging makes you invisible. You obviously want high mobility so that you can dodge more often on your hunter. Your fragments, Echo of Domineering, Echo of Exchange, Echo of Resistance, and Echo of Leeching. After suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves, adds 10 discipline. Melee final blows grant grenade energy. Void buffs applied to you, invisibility, overshield, and devour have increased duration, a little less mobility. And then melee final blows start health regen for you and nearby allies, plus 10 resilience. Now, you can already see where that is focused in there. A lot of melees, right? If you're using your glaives melee, it triggers those. However, there is one mod you need to make it so that it does. Because you see, all that invisibility stuff triggering off of dodge and suppressing enemies. There is a seasonal mod called Suppressing Glaive. Your glaive's melees suppress the target, but there is a little bit of an extra thing to that. If you remember in the subclass, defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target makes you invisible, and then while invisible, your next melee attack weakens. What that is meaning is your glaive is weakening and suppressing the target after it kills a target, which makes it brutal as fuck on its own. And due to the fact that it's counted as a melee strike if you're using the melee of the Enigma, there are some mods for it that aren't working, but there are those that do work right now. And yeah, the Echo of Leeching works. The grenade energy off of melee final blows works. The suppressing here that grants mobility and reloads your weapon works. If you use all of the ammo in your glaive and then you go and attack a target, suppress it, it reloads all the ammo for your glaive. So that's very nice. This works with it. Your dodge is just there. And I do have a few things to make your dodge come back easier. But yeah. Since right now one of the mods that is not working with it, that they have addressed should be but is not, is the melee Wellmaker. Once it's working again, I would recommend using that over grenade, but for now, since it's not working, just use your grenade, because you're getting grenade back anyway off of killing targets with your glaive. Since killing a target with melee grants grenade energy, yeah, only a little bit broken. And then I have elemental charge with that, so that when I pick up a well, I gain the charge. And then that's leading into high energy fire to get more damage on my glaive. Now, I know that's a little different than my usual playstyle, but since you're always invisible, you don't need any defense bumps if they can't hit you. And once I do get the other two slots, what I was planning on doing there, as you can see here, I have elemental charge, the elemental well creation there, and that there for the high energy fire. I was planning on going and putting the what's it called? Font of Might. Picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants bonus damage to weapons of that element type. So basically, I pick up an elemental well, I become charged with light. While I'm charged with light, I have more damage, and due to it being a matching elemental well, I have the Font of Might triggering. So, in theory, I'll have the high energy fire and the Font of Might active on the Enigma at the same time as everything else. But yeah, that's the extent of how the build works. You kill things with the glaive's melee. Regen your grenade. Throw your grenade. Your grenade, once I do have legendary gauntlets, utilize the void gauntlets so that you can get the grenade damage refreshes your class ability. Class ability already will be regenning faster when you get your mobility up. The build is working just fine as it is now. My recommendation, do not put a lot into your recovery. Graviton Forfeit while you are invisible instantly pops your recovery to 100, regardless of where it is. And speaking of Graviton Forfeit, I have actually yet to go over what it does. So, all the invisibility you're in, Graviton Forfeit boosts it. While you are invisible, you have increased duration to the invisibility first off, but your melee recharges faster, your weapons reload faster, and your recovery is instantly capped. It says greatly increased there, but it is literally if you have at least 20 recovery, that will fill you up to 100 while invisible. It is ridiculously high amounts of heal. And boots, orbs of light, go ahead and just throw that in there. And I believe there's also something somewhere that makes it so that your melee final blows create orbs of lights. If you have that, definitely go for that. And yeah, that's the build. I don't have everything for it yet. Your kinetic and your heavy are anything of your choice, including exotics, since you're using a void glaive here. Now, there is a exotic glaive that you can use with it, but it is a arc type glaive, which makes me kind of sad, because that takes out all of the void elemental well stuff that I'm playing with. You'll need to figure something else out to use with it. So, you could utilize it, but I would recommend using something else. The Enigma works better with the invisibility build. And I've actually run a few Gambit matches with this guy. It makes Gambit a joke, it makes PvE a joke. But PvP, one forewarning, killing an enemy with the glaive, since you cannot suppress another player, at least not with hitting with this, you can't suppress them with the glaive, it will not make you invisible off of kills with the Enigma. It makes me sad, but for PvP, this build will not work. Granted, you can still get some kills with it. Glaives are fairly good to use in PvP right now, because you can take a shot at them, stagger them, and then go into melee and melee twice and they're dead. Granted, shotguns and fusions are going to be the bane of your life. But yeah, Hunter is in a pretty good state right now. But that is the build, and I will go to the lost sector I did last time on my Titan, and I'll show you just how it works. Because, yeah, this build is kind of busted. And I would recommend having a high damage burst heavy, because it does help out in the long run for this. Now, my super, I tend to save that for big boss enemies, because the glaive will handle minors like they're a joke and handle majors fairly easily, as this lost sector will show you. Because keep in mind, my Titan is 1505 and my Warlock is 1507. My Hunter here is still 1474 and is not well geared at all. But due to how the build works, I'll just head over here and get to that lost sector, and you will see how it works. Stupid sparrows. I don't know why people do that, but they keep leaving their sparrow there, and it's kind of annoying. So to start combat out, it's as simple as this. Dodge. Hey, you're invisible. Then stab. Oh, come on. Stab. Oh yeah, that's right. It's stupid. There we go. You need to kill a target and then hit another one for it to work on these guys, but yeah. Invisibility. And that's also another thing to mention. If you see that, while I'm invisible, initially after killing a target, you can see where your enemies are through walls. That in and of itself is beyond. And look, I'm invisible still. I'll go ahead and take these guys out real quick. Shoot you. Lasting impressions is awesome. Hey look, enemies. Melee. And I'm invisible again. If you look over to the side, that too stylish over there, if you do end up getting a kill while that cooldown is showing on the side, that 2-second cooldown, if you get a kill during that, it will take you out of invis. And look, here's a major. Grenade. And look, I'm invisible again. This is how brutal the hunter state is right now. You can literally clear all content while invisible. And yes, that does include the legendary campaign. I have yet to gear this character and I want it fully geared and modded correctly before I attempt that, but it is a possibility. I just want it fully geared because light bearers, their supers do lock onto you while you're invisible. But everything else in the campaign, it'll handle like a joke. But yeah, this invisibility is absolutely insane. And you can just sit here invisible as long as you honestly kind of want. It lasts for 12 seconds over there. That void invisibility. Look at that, 13 seconds there. And yeah, this build is just... They can't hurt what they can't see. That's as straightforward as it needs to be. Oh, here comes another one, and yeah, you're fucked. Look at that. Invisible again. Knock knock. Oh, recording right now. But yeah. You can just sit in invis while just the hunter build is really fun this season. If you want to pick it up, it is very nice. But yeah, after this boss, I'll be ending recording. I definitely need to get a better primary, but this build revolves around its melee for combat. But yeah, for the next part, just do this, switch to your heavy, use your pass ability to go invisible, and then just super it, and then shoot a rocket at it. And ta-da. Then just go back to your melee and clear the ads around it. That's how broken the hunter is right now. They literally cannot hit what they cannot see. Oh, the grenade killed that before I could go invisible. But yeah. Those three up there are all snipers, and they're not even registering them here, because invis. But yeah, that is the state of the hunter right now. And it's beyond fun. Because you can clear all forms of PvE content while just not being seen by any of your enemies. But, yeah. With that, that is Willis's World. Out.